Hey everyone, welcome to episode 42, the last episode of 2023. My name is Stevie Richards. This is the Big Fitness Show. And here is the draw. Here is the hero. Here is the idol. Here is the person everybody should want to be like in 2024. Big Mike Barons. How you doing, Mike?
I'm good, brother. With an intro like that, I got to be doing good.
Brother. We were
brother,
gonna
brother,
have
brother.
we hit the brother quota before the show even started.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm excited to have this episode. And we kicked off, we kicked off the Big Fitness Show with one of the second episode was our New Year's resolutions and goals for 2023. And so now I'm excited to have the repeat. That means we've made it almost an entire year of the Big Fitness Show, and that's pretty awesome. So I'm looking forward to talking about what our goals are for this coming year of 2024. And then I think giving some tips on how people can set some goals too will factor into this conversation a little bit.
We're hoping after the last week's episode 41, where the checklist for your goals in 2024, we hope everybody jumped the gun and already made those goals. But if you haven't, we're going to help you out. Also, I think at the beginning of this, before we get in, we're going to have a top 3, top 5, which we kind of share most of them anyway without even knowing about it. But maybe we should have a little bit of a retrospective segment on 2023 and kind of take stock and assess where we started. Me almost dying. That's probably a goal for me in 2024. Number one, stay alive.
Not die.
Yeah, stay alive. So, well, not die means I might be in a medically induced coma. So I think staying alive is the next step. To be sentient. How's that?
That's
and aware, be able to talk. My Philly accent is kind of half in a medically induced coma, but I'm trying. So maybe we should start with that, like the retrospect, to talk about some of the stuff we had goals for 2023.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one of them being the Big Fitness Show and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But before we get into show specific stuff, like how do you feel about 2023, and what are some of the ups and downs and some of the things that maybe you want to improve on in 2024?
Oh man, when I look back on the year, as far as like career goals and things like that and things that I've accomplished, I had a few goals that I really wanted to accomplish for this year. And the ones that were pretty much in my control, I can say that I accomplished them. So like I wanted to get a CrossFit level 1 trainer certification. I did the course and I got that. I wanted to get my sports nutrition coach certification done. I got that done. So that's good. And then I'm also, I just got another certification. CrossFit has a nutrition certification, and I'm going to do that before the end of the year. So I've got all day Friday planned tomorrow as we're recording this to finish that. So that'll be good. And then another goal that I had was to start doing some extra work for WWE. And I was able to do that this year. So those were like the big 3 things that were like totally in my control. Career, like endurance wise, I wanted to grow a little bit more than it actually did. So I'm kind of happy with that, but there's definitely room for growth. Big Fitness Show, I'm very happy with where we're at here. You know, we both agreed that we would do a bunch of episodes before we even really tried to evaluate what was going on numbers wise. Neither one of us really care about yes, we care about reaching more people, but as far as the numbers of the show, I'm content with it. I'm good with it. We're just going to keep showing up every week and trying to bring value for people. So I feel pretty good about that. Family life, great. I feel so good about my family life and where I'm at, and my marriage and being a dad and my daughters. My relationship with all of my girls is amazing. I'm so happy there. In 2023, another thing that I did that I'm real happy about is my garden. I was able to have a garden, and I was able to start doing some canning and preserving of food. And I've got a full pantry of food now that should last me, if we didn't buy groceries again for 2 months at least, I would be fine right now, so that's good. And I'm pumped about that. And I think 2023 overall, from the positives, man, was a good year for me. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, that's great, man. You've accomplished a lot. I mean, you look at everything one by one, and I guess you don't until you say them all together.
Sure.
So that's amazing stuff. And then the CrossFit stuff is something we've been talking about, or you've been dipping in and out since we've been talking about 10 years. I think you kind of mention it here and there. And, the
Sure.
sports nutrition have both of those
Sure.
within a few short months of each other, not even that long. What was it, like
Yeah.
2 months
2 months. Yeah.
between one to the other? That's
Yeah.
awesome. I mean, it's
Yeah.
a little stressful. You had to do the sports nutrition before it expired. So
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
enough motivation.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, congratulations, man. And you earned every
Thanks,
bit of
man.
it. And I'm sure in 2024, it's going to be even better. Things you can control. I think that's the number one thing that we'll get back to later with giving people tips about
Yeah.
what you can and cannot control.
Right.
With me, I started out the year and I had all the goals and I had some plans, and God stepped in and said, maybe a little bit later, here's a spot infection. So even though it was with me in 2023, I had no idea. So it definitely at the time seemed like, well, this is not good. And I don't know how this is going to end up. And I don't even know if I'm going to come back from it or how long it's going to take. I'm going to do my best. But it really did recenter our faith, myself and my wife,
Hmm.
because we had no choice at one point but to do that. And then at the same time, not taking things for granted, even though, you talk about how you're thankful, grateful, blessed. Human nature, you tend to take things for granted and it tends to go on autopilot and become a routine.
Sure.
But this set everything off. And also, to recenter where or redefine what I choose to spend my energy and my time on. So it's kind of more overarching themes. Now, obviously, Stevie Richards Wrestling Analysis came along later on in the year. That blew up very quickly. Had ups and downs with that, where I think we're on a better upward trend. Now I'm sort of kind of grasping the workflow of how everything is. Like I said, how do I choose to spend my time and energy? I have to really be efficient with that because both are very limited.
Hmm.
Uh, Looking at Stevie Richards Fitness, that started to dip down a little bit, but then Stevie Richards Wrestling Analysis came up. Then when that started to kind of like work on its own, I started uploading again the Stevie Richards Fitness, and that's coming back up, thank God, with the frequency of uploads.
Yeah.
Then on top of that, I always wanted to relaunch the tech channel, T4
Yeah.
Show, along with you, somebody that shares the same passion. And also, we're not your everyday kind of tech reviewers and tutorial
Sure.
people. So that got relaunched, and I'm very happy that that's at a young age is kind of, growing little by little. And of course, last but not least, the Big Fitness Show. We always wanted to help and serve people no matter what we're doing. So we're
Hmm.
sharing not only our health, fitness, wellness, nutrition experience, but also real world experience and how our lives are kind of wrapped up in this fitness world. So once again, I want the numbers in 2024 and we'll get to the goals to keep growing. But I know if we keep showing up, and that's a tip for everybody out there, you have a 100% chance of it not working out, of not being successful if you don't try. If you keep showing up, the old Jedi mind trick, you keep showing up and say, we're a really good fitness show, people are going to start saying, yeah, it is a fitness show because it's been around. It's kind of
Hmm.
weird dynamic, that Jedi mind trick. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Yeah. I 100% know what you're talking about. And that's, I mean, you had a big year, dude. Think about it. Started the year off hot and then took some heat for a little bit.
I literally got hot and started sweating the weight off after a while. Lost 35 pounds. You're right. Things did heat up.
Yeah, you definitely took some heat for a little bit, but now, like, uh, I mean, it seems like it was a complete 180 for you, and everything's just firing. And I tell you all the time that you sell yourself short sometimes with what you're doing and what you bring to the table and how much value you bring. And I looking back on the year that you've had as your friend, am incredibly proud of what you've been able to do and what you've been able to contribute to the world and as a whole, and how you've been able to impact in so many different ways, and I'm excited for 2024 because it's just, I feel like you're just getting started. And I tell you that with the wrestling channel, like you're a couple months into it. You've been doing it for what, 3 months, 4 months now, and
Something
it's
like that.
already had a massive impact. And then I just really am super proud of what you've been able to do over the last year. And I'm not saying this as lip service. I would tell you this even if we were recording or not, right? Because it's the truth, man. Like, you really have come from a place of immense gratitude for what you went through. And I think that's a great lesson for everybody listening. You could have very easily gone the other direction this year. You very easily could have had this woe is me pity party. Oh, I got a spine infection. My life, you know what I mean? My life sucks. And you could have lived there the whole year. You could have lived there for the rest of your life, but you didn't. And that to me is huge, because you went from starting the year off excited and then having a big obstacle, a big hurdle getting away, a huge hurdle getting away, to now I feel like you're finishing the year as strong as you possibly could. And you're just setting yourself up for continued success moving forward. So it's pretty awesome. So thanks for sharing all the things that you're doing, man.
Oh, thank you. I mean, I didn't mention in the beginning, but I have a wonderful wife, and that's the reason
Oh,
why
sure.
I'm here. It's the reason why I'm here today. It's the reason why I'm literally alive. Is
Yeah.
she never gave up, and she never
Sure.
gave up to any point. Even and I'm proud of you too. I mean, I'm not comfortable taking the compliment, but I didn't say this before, but we were talking about the financial health episode, and obviously, mindset's everything. Just a side note, you go back and if anybody can watch or listen to the Boogie 2988 episode, it really is all about mindset. Instead of being a professional victim, which I've accepted my fate kind of thing. I've never accepted my fate nor the fate of anybody I love or care about. I always want everybody to do better, improve, and everybody has it in them to do the same exact things and overcome the same obstacles I did this year. If I can do it, you can do it. If I
Yeah.
can get into shape right now, anybody can get into shape, because I'm nowhere near 100%. But also on the side note, the side of the side note, I was already making a side note. Back to this side. I told you this, but I haven't told the audience that, man, there was a big medical bill snafu from the whole ordeal, and the billing with the first hospital, not the Mayo Clinic. They were excellent, but people who know how much the medical system and insurance are an absolute nightmare. We were on the, it was on us for a while to pay like something like a $37,000 bill for the emergency room for all this other stuff. But it was because of their misdiagnosis. It was because of whatever. But with me, I didn't even have the strength to fight this, nor the patience, nor the, we gotta say what's the word I'm looking for? The perseverance at the time. My wife took all that on. She held me and she said, "Don't worry about that. You just get better. I'll take care of it." And she got it, rightfully so, all wiped out, because they didn't.
Sure.
We paid for what we needed to, but that would have been a huge stressor. And thank God for her to do something like that. And it took months to do it. So that was a big albatross that was lifted from our shoulders. And, we consider that saving money and accomplishment. And, and that's just something there, just as a side note for everybody out there, that like getting better was the easy part. There was a lot of other stuff that she took on that made me focus on my health.
Sure. Yeah. No, I think I think looking back on the year, it was a good year. Overall 2023, in my opinion, was a good year for both of us. I think we're both on track to do more and to bring more value to the people that we are around, support our families, and all the things that we need to do in 2024. So let's talk about that, where we're going in 2024. Let's talk about our resolutions, our goals, the resolution piece of it. We talked about it in last week's episode, that I think there's definitely a place for it. Obviously, New Year's resolutions are not the best, clearly not the best thing in the world, because people don't stick to them. They'll set them, but they don't stick to them. Right. So figuring out a way that you can stick to your New Year's resolutions and your New Year's goals and things like that is something that's really important. And I think last week we talked about it, and I don't want to repeat everything that we talked about last week, but we definitely talked about a checklist and how to achieve those goals and figuring out what those goals are. And the first step is setting those goals and then working backwards to figure out how I get to those goals. I was just having a conversation with a couple of guys on Monday about their goals. And I said to them, the goal, if this is the goal, now you've got to work backwards from this, right? So if that's the goal, you work backwards to figure out if this is the end goal, what's the step before that? Then what's the step before that? And then what's the daily habits that I need to do to get to that end goal? So, for example, the Big Fitness Show. We want to continue to grow the Big Fitness Show. I think that's our first goal for both of us. We'll just throw that one out there. Our first goal for this upcoming year is the Big Fitness Show. Well, now we work backwards. How do we continue to grow and have more impact with the Big Fitness Show? Well, we've got to show up every week. We've got to bring more value every week. We got to do better production every week. And we got to continue to up level and give more value, create good topics that we're going to talk about, and really listen to what our customer, which is you, the listener, is asking for. And we got to figure that out. And so that's how we grow. We're not just going to magically make it happen if we don't take the time to figure out what those goals are. And so I think no matter what your goals are, no matter what the goal is, you have to try to focus in on working toward your goals, making sure that everything is moving in the right direction for where you want to be, working towards the goals, if that makes sense. I know I kind of lost my train of thought
everything
there.
needs to align with that and not
Yeah.
veer off and get distracted. You need to be very, very focused and vigilant and be efficient with trying to get to that point. That's the other thing. You got to really focus on your goals, because you're always going to have distractions. Not every day is going to be the same, but you need to maximize whatever you can with that. So yeah, the Big Fitness Show, and that's something right there. Like I was looking and I was thinking about it because I have vidIQ and I look at trending stuff and everything, and it's sad to say, and it's going to eventually, we're going to come out of it just like we did in the wrestling business and other things. We don't have to grab the super low hanging fruit of doing reactions to certain things. We did the Boogie episode, but that was something for the audience as a PSA. But we're not going to sit here and go, two pro wrestlers eviscerate V-Shred and his scam program. But that's one of the things that would get a ton of views. Now, there's going to be topical stuff and trending stuff for the Big Fitness Show, but at the same time, we're careful, not because of shadow banning or demonetization. We're not monetized yet, so that's a moot point.
It doesn't matter.
But yeah, well, now would be the time to take our shot. But but at the same time, it's not who we are. And like I was telling you off camera about certain things that happened through my pro wrestling career that I witnessed, and certain ways people moved ahead and stuff like that. Everybody's eventually going to get released, fired, or quit, or do whatever. And then you got to look at yourself in the mirror. So when we record these episodes, we not only have to look at ourselves in the mirror afterwards, but also we have to basically answer to the audience, which are basically also customers with Stevie Richards Fitness, with X Endurance, with your brand, my brands, all that stuff. We want to basically be as loyal to them as they are to us. And then even more importantly, we have to go and face our family, our wives, our children, the people that love us, and knowing that we're just trying to do these tricks and tactics just for clicks and views. It's not a great business model for the YouTube channel,
right?
But it's our model and it's the way we want to go. Am I speaking too much for you? Is that what you think too?
No, I wholeheartedly agree. I mean, the goal with the Big Fitness Show has always been to just bring value and help cut through the noise, help cut through the crap, and be honest, and not try to just be clickbaity for clickbaity. I mean, our goal is to just provide as much value as we can, and through experience, because everybody has different experiences and we have a different take on things. And the Big Fitness Show, I say something that's going to resonate with somebody that won't, and then what I said won't resonate with somebody else. But when you say the exact same thing, it's going to resonate because you said it, right? And so we're just trying to help with our experience, because we've both been through a lot. We've both, experienced a lot in the fitness world and been able to translate that into successful careers in multiple different aspects. And so it's just about bringing value. And that's been the whole goal with the Fitness Show, is how can we bring value? How can we do something that we enjoy? We have fun with it. We like doing this, but also hopefully help people in the process. That's the goal here. We don't just do this for our own egos. That's not what this is about. This is about, hey, we have a certain set of knowledge, a certain way that we can reach people. And that's our goal here, is hopefully help bring as much value as possible. And I think over the next year, we've got pretty much a year under our belt. We don't have 52 episodes, but we have good reason why we don't have 52 episodes.
Sorry about that.
But yeah, it's fine. But we got a whole year under our belt of doing this show. And I think selfishly, both of us are just getting better and better with our conversation and how we go about the show and the value that we're bringing. I feel like it's gotten better, but I feel like I said with you and your other channels, I feel like you're just getting started, and I feel like we're just getting started and finding our groove and having a good conversation. We've always had good conversation, but it's just, we're getting to a point where we can produce the show a little bit more. We're going to bring more value with what we're doing. And 2024, my goal with the Big Fitness Show is to just reach more people. I think we have good value already, but we just need to get in front of more eyeballs and more people seen, so that we can hopefully impact and help more people live healthier every single day. I think that's the goal for both of us.
You know what I noticed about us comparatively to other people? Because it seems like like I said, I look at the trends and this whole super complicating biohacking and these
Mm.
people that are featured as the neuroscientists and the biohackers. We've been watching videos on the guy who's trying to stop aging, the
Oh yeah.
billionaire who spends $2 million a year or something. That is going to be trendy for a bit. But what we're talking about is the nuts and the bolts of health, wellness, fitness, nutrition, longevity, all that
Yeah.
stuff. We're doing the opposite. And obviously, with keywords and SEO, and like I said, with the trending topics, it's not going to come up that way, but it becomes white noise after a while. I feel like the content we have is very much meat and potatoes, where
Mhm.
that stuff is like, I don't know, some sort of the IV infusion of B12, comparatively speaking. And I'm
Yeah.
not putting them down because I watch the stuff, but it comes to a point where it's just like, dude, come on, just like, where's the 101 on this? And that's what
Yeah.
I would say Big Fitness Show is proudly very much a health, fitness, wellness, nutrition 101 class.
Yeah. Yeah.
Remedial basics. We all need to reset and go back to the basics eventually. I needed to this year. You needed to prepare for the CrossFit stuff and everything. So
Mhm.
it's framed up that way. So like, what would be the next thing outside of Big Fitness Show that you would think in 2024 that you want to accomplish by the end of the year? What do you say?
For me, I want to be in the best shape of my life. I know that this is it's cliche to say that as a fitness, as a New Year's resolution thing, but truly I want to be in the best shape of my life. I have just kind of been baselining over the last 6 months. I'm fine. Like, I'm not fat. I'm not jacked. I've got some muscle on me, but I'm not as big as I want to be. I'm not as lean as I want to be. And so at I'm going to be 41 in March. And so for me, my goal is to really focus in on my nutrition, my fitness, and get in the absolute best shape that I can be. My daughter, my 10-year-old daughter, has said to me, "Daddy, you need abs." And I'm like, shoot. So I want to get those for her this year. That's my goal, is to get abs so that I can say to my daughter, "Hey, look at Dad's abs," and that would be the thing that would be very indicative of the fact that I'm in the best shape of my life, because I've never had abs. There was a point where I was really jacked and I was kind of lean, but I never had those six-pack abs, and I may never get them, but at least having a flat stomach that looks like abs would be the goal. And so for me, selfishly, I just want to focus on being in the absolute best physical condition that I can be, but not just aesthetically either. Like, my cardiovascular has never been something that has been strong. And through CrossFit, I've realized that was why I was very hesitant to get into CrossFit at first, because it made me feel like a turd, made me feel like I was out of shape, because it was very metabolically heavy conditioning wise. And this year, in the last couple months, I've really focused on it a lot more, and I'm better than I am, but I want to be great. I want to be great from a physical cardiovascular perspective. I want to look like $1 million. I want to feel like $1 million, and I want to make $1 million. So,
Yeah,
but it's
there you
just,
go.
like that fitness piece is the foundation of the rest of my goals. And if I don't dial that in and make that the number one priority from a goal perspective, everything else is going to suffer because of it. So that's my big goal for me.
I'm
What
going to
about you?
manually insert in the outline of your goals. I'm going to put something underneath that one and say, I think your motivating factor for all that stuff is the fact that you're going to add CrossFit content, more content to the
Yeah.
Big Mike Barron's channel. So your motivation, you're on camera, you have to progress, you have to show that to be the example. So,
Hmm.
and that's going to translate into hopefully sales conversions,
Hmm.
affiliate stuff, more
Yeah.
money. I really do think that's the sense of urgency that you need, that I need to do this because it's the story attached
Hmm.
to your brand. So that's what I do. Well, mine, everything's a story that I'll share. Obviously, you and I are private, introverted people anyway, but
Hmm.
that kind of stuff does benefit more people to
Right.
share those kinds of things. And I think sharing your vulnerability, I've said it time and time again, sharing the pitfalls of your CrossFit journey and the things you don't do so well and the things you have to embrace the suck. That's the stuff that's going to draw more people to your brand.
Right.
Just my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a huge motivating factor behind it. Like when I say that that my fitness is the foundation of everything that I want to accomplish, it truly is. And I've tried multiple times going through it. And I think it's not just for me, right? I think for everybody listening, dialing in your fitness and fixing that and eating healthy, working out is going to do so much for every area of your life. That's the foundation. The foundation is your nutrition and your fitness. Those things allow for creating every other goal that you want, accomplishing every other goal that you want. And if you don't have those, you can probably still accomplish them. Sure. You probably can. But will it be better? Will it be faster? Will it be easier? Will it make more sense? Will you feel more accomplished? Will you feel even better? Will you show up better because you have your fitness? And I think for everybody, that goal is a great solid foundation. And like we talk about the 101 with the Big Fitness Show, you can't build a massive house on a shitty foundation. And if you don't address the foundation, it ain't gonna work. And I'm looking at it for me, I've got a firm foundation. It's firm, but it's not solid as a rock, and I need to get to the point where it's solid as a rock if I want to reach the levels that I know that I can and I know that I want to reach. So that starts with fixing the nutrition, fixing the fitness, and getting in the absolute best physical cardiovascular condition that I possibly can. And, the life benefits and all that kind of stuff too. But just purely from a goal perspective, I got to have that. And if I can do that, then, or when I do that, then it opens up the rest of the goals so much more.
I'm going to challenge you on one point because I
Oh,
drive around here in Florida and there's plenty of homes being built on shitty foundations. So,
yeah.
so they are building the homes on bad foundations. So they fly in the face of that, just like they're going to fly away at the next hurricane. They fly in the face of
lasting,
that.
a lasting home, a
Yeah,
big, massive
they,
home that lasts. How about
I
that?
I never thought I'd see planned obsolescence with a brand new home. So, but it's
We're
just
in a
like my
throwaway
iPhone now.
society.
Unbelievable. You have no, you do have an idea. I'm sure
I
you've
do.
seen it too. But
Yeah.
what I would
Uh,
say on my end, and now
yeah.
all those things are gonna happen for you sooner rather than later. I'm
Yeah.
texting you all the time, pushing you to create content.
Yep.
Once you get on that roll, dude, you're gonna be putting stuff out almost daily. That's what I
Yep.
would love to see from you in 2024. Even like you did the X Endurance video, which was maybe a couple minutes long or less.
Minute and a
There's
half.
so
Yeah.
much information packed up in that you didn't need any more. So
Yeah.
that's the kind of stuff that I really want to see from you in 2024. It's excellent.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks. And you're going to be a big part of pushing me to do it. You have been all year.
I'm not, you told
Fighting
me
you.
don't leave me alone, so be careful what you wish for. Even though
Yeah.
those texts come at like 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, they do, or
Never fails.
2 or 3 o'clock your time.
I wake up every morning with a text from you. I love it.
Yep, it's my big thing.
Okay.
You're
So,
not, yeah, everybody gets those Bible verses early in the morning. Nobody complains, so it's good. So on my
what
part,
about you?
all right,
Yeah. What's
and
yours? Yep.
this we might need to talk through off and on camera. Being a content creator is great. Doing all this stuff with the YouTube channel, being able to have the Big Fitness Show, being a content creator in general, and having the affiliate business with the YouTube channel, and obviously Stevie Richards Wrestling Analysis. But on the fitness space, and we've had this conversation before, it may be a headache. It might not be the easiest move to make or the next step for the Stevie Richards fitness brand or just Stevie Richards brand in general, but an actual physical product.
Mm,
It's something, and you might think, well, that's going to take a long time, but I know in 2023, so much can change in a blink of an eye. So
sure.
that's what I'm looking at. Like, I think the number one word I'm looking for outside of the information we give here and on our brands is legacy. What do I want to
Mm,
create? Not just with the
yeah.
videos, with the content. And also, you and I have so much experience working with products and reviewing products and using products. The next logical step for one of us or both of us is what's the hole in the landscape? What's the hole in the industry that we can fill without
Mm,
being a BSer, without selling snake oil, a really true need within the space that we can provide and help people.
mm,
Now you
yeah.
look at logistics and you don't want it to be super, like high cost. You want something that can be produced physically, or maybe it's a digital thing, because maybe physical products, you deal with supply chain issues, you deal with the uncertain times and inflation, all that stuff. But that is the thing that I want to be like, this is mine. I see other wrestlers like Ryback with his pre-workout, his
Mm,
supplements. I
yeah.
see other people with, I have resistance band programs. I always look at resistance band products. I'm trying out the X3, probably gonna get the Harambia system. It just something that I can tell the story and the
Mm,
product tells my story. Does that make
yeah.
sense?
Yeah. Yeah. Now you got my brain thinking about what that could be.
Yeah, you and I. See you at 3 a.m.
Yeah, right? No, I mean, yeah, that's a great goal, dude. Yeah, we'll have to talk more about that. I think that's definitely something that could be done for sure.
I think
And
that's the number one word we want everybody to, not to interrupt you. I'm sorry.
no, go ahead.
The number one word when it comes to us, this is going to make me emotional again. You were trying earlier with the being proud of me. It's really like it sounds like I'm very proud of my wrestling career, and I'm very happy and blessed. That was the water, not me choking up.
Yeah.
I'm very happy and blessed that I have the skill that God gave me to be able to draw on a vibe board and break stuff down, and I still have my mind about me with psychology, and I'm able to be present for you and my wife and everything. But man, I want something that says legacy,
Mm,
that can make my wife even prouder, can make you prouder, that
sure.
maybe can provide wealth to my family and friends that I can share.
Yeah.
Maybe I can give people jobs that are down on their luck right at that and to help them out by helping me, by having them earn their keep and help them
Yeah.
move back up the ladder and maybe redeem themselves, or somebody just starting out, or a high school kid that needs experience. I want to be able to provide and help and
Yeah.
leave a lasting legacy for the people that are directly involved with whatever I'm going to do and the people that can benefit from purchasing that product or that service.
I love that, man. I love that. And I'm sure we will have multiple conversations on how to get there. And I would love to help you as much as I can, support you and talk through it. And I think that's great. Figuring out what that's going to be is probably going to be tough, but I think that's a great goal to have for this coming year for sure.
Now, I'm not looking forward to flying to China. So I'd really like to have it made in the UI. That's another goal. All joking aside, even though that's
Yeah,
all I ever do most of the time.
sure. Yeah.
My thing would be, I got the X3 bar here, and I know that it's very polarizing, but mostly everything they have as far as the components of that system are engineered and manufactured. There's a big thing about designed in the USA, but it's not
Mm,
made.
yeah.
But the bands are made in Sri Lanka because they have the best resistance bands. I've done my research on that. That's where the best ones, for some reason, come from. A lot of like Serious Steel,
Hmm.
Undersun, X3. They use Harambe. They use the bands from Sri Lanka. But mostly everything with the X3 is US based. The customer
Got it.
service is US based. I would love, you and I have that little bit of a patriotic kind of feeling in us
Hmm.
all the time, where we love our
Yeah.
country and we would love to represent it as much as we can.
Hmm.
So if I could get everything done in the US, that would just
Yeah.
be even more of a like awesome thing for
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah. That would be ideal for sure. Oh, I love that. That's cool, man. That's very cool. All
Now,
right.
don't
What's
hold me to that. It might have to eventually get to that, but might
yeah.
not be able to start with the margins and all that stuff here in the US, but that's the goal, to be able
Yeah.
to do
Working
something
towards
like
it.
that. Yeah,
Cool. Very cool. All right. What's your next goal? I'm gonna put you on spot
put me
back to
on the
back.
spot. Well, even more importantly, as much as I try each and every day, I got caught up with a little bit too much of playing catch up, and we talked about how even if I do 100 things, I feel like I've done nothing.
Yeah.
That does it doesn't stress my marriage out, but it definitely my wife is just always laughing, smiling, hugging me, telling me to not obsess over it so much. But I actually, in the same vein of becoming obsessed with improving, I need to compartmentalize that during the time when
Mm,
it's dedicated with time management. I need to shut it off, put the phone down, not worry about things, and be in the moment and live in the moment with my wife, my family, and the people who love me. I don't enjoy the moments. I'm
mm.
always, even if, like I said last week, I think, even as we're enjoying this moment, there's something in the back of my mind that 3 hours from now that needs to be done.
Sure.
And I need to be more intentional and more in the present with that, because I feel like that the life that's been given to me again, I'm still sort of wasting in some regard.
Mm, yeah. No, that's good, man. That's good. Being intentional. Yeah, because right
I
now
know
I'm
you have
thinking
the
about
same
your
problem at
business
times
idea.
too. I know. What's that?
I said because right now I'm thinking about your business idea and what your
we,
physical product's
well,
going to be.
yeah. Well, me too, but we both have the same struggle. And
Oh, totally.
honestly, it's not a, like I told my wife, I go, I never want you to think I'm lazy or I'm doing whatever. She goes, you can never be lazy. Just like you could never,
Sure.
ever be lazy. But we know we're not middle of the road personalities.
Hmm.
We're not type A in the way of alphas that bully people, but we're very much alpha in the way of go getting, determination,
Hmm.
initiative. But once you start that ball rolling with the initiative and always trying to evolve, dude, it's hard to slow it down. It's a good thing, but it can also destroy you at the same time. It's an obsession
Yeah.
that drives you, but can also drive you mad.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I definitely struggle with that too. I mean, it's never feeling like you're doing enough is hard to do it, but that would be a good goal for me to have as well. And I'll try to we'll have to keep each other accountable in that and being more present in the moment and really just giving ourselves a little grace as far as what we accomplish for the day.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think that's, I'll skip to my next one and then you can do two.
Yeah.
Attached to that is actually reading more, whether it's the Bible,
Mm,
whether it's the
yeah.
Warrior Poet book, things like that. I mean, audiobooks might be the way to go, but I really want to do the harder version. I have the book and that makes me sit down and
Hmm.
not say, oh, while I'm working, I'll listen to the audiobook because you're kind of half listening.
Hmm.
Sit down, do that. The Bible is the number one thing I want to read more of, even though we do our daily things. The Warrior Poet book, I'm almost finished. We're gonna have a book review coming up soon.
Yeah.
But
Whenever you're ready.
once I get into it, I go. I could
Yeah.
probably read the whole book in one sitting, but I feel like once again, just like you, I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it. I'm like, this book's really good, but what else should I be doing?
Right.
And then
Totally.
I'm gone. So
Yeah.
that goes hand in hand with the being intentional when you're in the moment. So you
Yeah.
have two. Now you owe me two of them.
Well, okay, so I will give you my one of my goals this year is to read more books. And so I just picked up another book. I'll show it. This is a good one. It's called Choose Your Enemies Wisely by
Patrick
Patrick
Bet
Bet-David.
David.
Oh,
Yeah.
such a good book, dude. Like I listened to the audiobook, but now I'm going to go back through and I'm going to read the physical book and the audiobook at the same time. And that to me is something that this past year I wanted to do 12 new books. So one a month. I did that. I did one a month. I read a new book. I did the audiobook for most of them. A couple of them I read the audiobook or read the physical book and listened to the audiobook at the same time. And for me, that is such a good way to read a book and get more of the information. A lot of times I'll listen to audiobooks when I'm driving back and forth to wrestling shows. But if I sit down and I actually physically hold the book in front of my face, when I was studying for the CrossFit exam, I would read everything and listen to it. Like I would use the Siri feature of highlight the text and then speak all the words. I would use that so that I could hear it and read it at the same time. And I just feel like I maintained more of the information. I did the same thing for the sports nutrition certification because I feel like I can maintain it better. And so a lot of the books that I read, I'll listen to the audiobook a lot of times first. And then if I feel like, okay, this was worth me rereading and getting more from it, I'll buy the physical book and then reread it with the physical book and the audiobook. So I can just retain the information so much better. And so this year I want to do that again, but I want to do two books a month, because I really think that reading is something that you can invest in yourself, right? Like the inflation that's going on, the way the world is, there's certain things that can be taken away from you, whatever, but they can't take away your knowledge. You can't take away the skills that you learn. You can't take away that stuff and the improvements that you do in your brain. And so for me, I think it's really important that you read to better yourself. You read to improve your business. Read
Well, your brain is a muscle too. You got to work that.
Yeah, exactly. And the more that you can do that, the better you're going to be every day. Because let's say you don't take everything away from this book. I read that book, Choose Your Enemies Wisely. Maybe I didn't grasp the whole thing, but I got a key point here that helps me be better in this aspect. Or I got a key point over here that helps me be better in that aspect. And then every one of these books is just going to make you a little bit better. And you're going to think about things a little bit differently. You're going to expand your mind a little bit. And so for me, I want to do 24 books. That's my goal. 24 books this year that are either business related or self-development related, because I just feel like you have to constantly be feeding your mind with good stuff to move the needle forward, to grow, to learn new things, to continue to grow. And part of, best shape of my life physically, I want to be that way. I want to be that way cardiovascularly, but I also want to be that way mentally too, because I want to be able to operate at a different level than I've ever operated at before from a mental perspective too, because along the lines of our mission with the Big Fitness Show and just everything that you and I do, we want to just help people. And you've got to help yourself before you can help other people. And so I need to continue my growth so then I can then pass on whatever I learn to help others continue to grow as well. So that's my first one, to piggyback on your reading one. I want to definitely read a little more. 24 is the goal. That's the target. And then I wrote down another one, the consistency with my YouTube channel. We've talked about it a little bit. I've really hemmed and hawed about it over the last year. I've put out a video. I've done fine for like 2 weeks. I'll put out 2 videos, no problem. And then I'll go 2 months with nothing. And so that has really hurt the growth of my YouTube channel. I have big plans for what I want to do with the YouTube channel, but at a minimum, I want to be consistent with the Big Mike Barron's YouTube channel, putting out at minimum 1 video a week. I think that's not unrealistic. I mean, I can definitely do that. And I've committed to a minimum of 1 video a week. So by the end of the year, I need to have 52 minimum videos on my channel for that goal to be hit. And I will do that for sure.
I have no doubt. I think you'll do maybe twice as many of that once you get on the roll.
Yeah.
I really do. Why don't we do this? We talked about this. Why? Because it'll force us both, especially me. What if once a month? What if we have like a Big Fitness Show book of the month?
Ooh, I like that idea.
So we review the book and we have people interacting and then doing things within that. And we have a book review. So it's like a book of the month club. So we can just basically say, this is the book we're doing this month. At the end of the month, we're going to do the review. So on the first of the month, this will be the book.
All right. January, Warrior Poet Society. By the end of January, we'll do a review.
I'll be done before that. I'm going to make sure. So maybe on the 1st of January, we do Warrior Poet. Then we preview the next book. Then 30 days later, maybe on the 1st of February, we'll figure it out.
We'll work on the logistics.
I'm going to piggyback on your piggyback of my book thing,
Yeah.
because though there's two things I want book wise for this, for our family, actually, first and foremost,
Yeah.
my wife and your wife, I really want the children's book that they're kind of talking about together. Your wife with the artistic side, my wife with the writing. I
Mhm.
want that to be an immense success. I want our
Mm.
wives to be super fulfilled with what they do and use their talents and their skills to not only get the recognition but leave that word legacy, and
Yeah.
hopefully be a series of books and a series of business relationships and creative relationships together for both of them. And I want us to be able to support them with what we know on the promotion thing, on being
Mhm.
carnies and all that stuff, be able to go out there and politic and do
Yeah.
everything. But on a smaller note, I really do, if not finish, I really want to maybe start sharing the story in a book version for the thing that happened this year, and maybe an entire
Hmm.
biography thing if people would be interested in that, about my
Yeah.
life and how just a skinny kid from Philadelphia can achieve amazing things. Just a regular guy, nothing special,
Yeah.
can achieve extraordinary things by just showing up and trying his best each and every day. That's what I look
Yeah.
at.
I think Stevie Richards' biography, Stevie Richards' book has a nice
I
ring
can
to it.
Dude, you and I, we talked about it with our wives.
Yeah.
The creating it part is the hard part. Publishing it, self-publishing it, distributing it. God, I can't even say distributing. What, Jesus Christ?
Distributing.
There you go. Getting it out there. Going
Yeah, there you
out
go.
there and do it. But
Oh,
those things
shoot.
are the easy part for us to be able to
Yeah.
do everything digitally. There's never been an easier time to
Mhm.
put. We talked about the big fitness show guide and book and the free thing that we want to put up.
Yeah.
We can create that with Canva and just put it up as a guide, a short guide, or even if it's an entire book.
Mhm.
The hard part for me is actually reading's hard, man,
Mm.
but writing, that's how my wife and I met, because my website was just a comedy of errors, you know, grammatic errors, spelling errors. It's just my strength is in video and audio, in
Yeah,
written word. If I could do that, I would have blogs on reviews all over the place, because the SEO is really good for
sure.
that. But long story short, that's something, at least by the end of the year, I would love to start. My wife said just use speech to text and you can write a
Mm.
book that way.
Yeah, that's a good idea. And I think it would be good enough that the dictation's good enough that you could actually do that now. So, yeah, that's not a bad idea at all. It'd be good for you.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know if it's the entire life thing or if it's just what happened this year could be its own book in itself. I mean,
I would agree with you on that.
you think about it. I mean,
I
it
I
really
would
is to
definitely
me.
agree.
Yeah, I mean, there's, with everything I did in wrestling and everything that's happened, it's almost like it would almost be like emotional overload for people to read it all. Not
Yeah,
bragging. I'm not bragging at all. It's just there's a lot of ups and downs, that
sure.
people would have to. So maybe it's just. I mean, Mick Foley wrote 8 autobiographies. Why can't I?
I agree with you. I have told you that I think it's a good idea. I think you should do it. So,
Well, I told
well,
you I think it's a good idea for you to get the CrossFit certification and for you to start a YouTube channel on Big Mike. Okay, I'll stop right there.
yeah, good point. All right. All right. Let's wrap this up. I want to wrap up with one final goal that I have for this year. I want to become even more self-sufficient and self-reliant um, than I have been. Right. Like this past year was I did a lot in the garden. I want to make a bigger garden. I have already started to till up the ground to make a bigger garden. So I want to produce a large amount of food out of my garden this year and just use that to provide more food for my family and just become more self-reliant in that sense. Also learning new skills. Like for this past year, I changed my own oil for the first time in my car. I'm 40 years old and it's the first time I've ever done it. And I'll never, ever pay somebody to do it again because it was just easy to do. And so that was a little more self-sufficiency that I had. I changed the brakes in my car this year for the first time ever on my own. Like, you know what I mean? So it's things like that, little things like that, that I just want to continue to up level my skills, continue to become more self-sufficient and handle things on my own so that I can continue into this year, just getting more skills and become more dangerous, I guess is the best way to say it.
Well, dangerous to the government, people in charge.
Dangerous to everybody.
Well, I've seen some of your moves, man. I don't know if I could take them. That's dangerous. Especially that the razor's edge thing or whatever.
Yeah, that's a good one. so anyway, yeah. Any final resolutions you have before we wrap up?
I want to buy the ground. I want to buy land in order to do what you're doing. So even I'm kind of relegated on the fact, even with the market and everything, that will have to be a goal sooner rather than later. Mm-hmm. And even if we have to buy the land just for the garden, just for the experimentation of having something before we put any kind of homestead on it, I'm more than willing to have a separate piece of land for garden that we would go and work on and do that. But the big goal is I'm talking about, like, I think too, I want to be self-reliant. I want to be self-sufficient. And for people that don't watch my self-reliance on YouTube, that's a great channel that we watch. Lots of great stuff. But my thing is actually to do the whole deal and actually create content and a new channel off it. Because, for me, that would be a brand, and that could be a life-sustaining brand, because we're always going to do it. You're always going to have the garden. We're always going to be doing that. And I'm talking about solar. I'm talking about, trying to build certain rooms, trying to do it ourselves. Even something that's like, can we live without electricity and even plumbing? People are like, what are you talking about? Well, there's composting toilets. There's incinerating toilets that we were looking up that are very efficient. There's solutions out there to where you don't need that if you just do a little bit of, what's the word I'm looking for? If you're just a little innovative, the products and the brands and the solutions exist. It's not as hard as you think.
Sure.
So that's a goal, hopefully, for next year, that we can find that kind of opportunity I'm always sending you land and cabins in the woods and stuff like that. So you inspire me with that. I watch you and I see how you can and do that. My wife does it on a very small scale here, but she has the ability to do that stuff. And I want to learn too, man. It's just, those kind of skills are just, we love doing this, but the skills that really do matter are the ones you're talking about a lasting supply of food, a homestead, and just skills that if everything goes down, you can still have viable skills to survive.
Yeah. It's very rewarding feeling to learn those kind of things. So,
see, if I change my own oil, I void my warranty and I'm screwed. So I have to wait till it expires.
Oh, let's just get an old car, and then you drive an old car, and you can do
I'm
it.
looking at like an 82 TJ Jeep Wrangler. It has no electronics.
Oh, wow. There you go.
For real. And that's a tip for everybody out there. With the economy, people are going to start selling off their extra cars, boats, toys, stuff like that. And I'm going to put my glasses on. I'm going to be a lookout for that stuff. I'm going to be a lookout for all of it. I got my cash ready. I got my cash while my cash still exists. All right, that's a different podcast.
Yes.
Watch the live files, everybody.
All right. Hey, thanks everybody for tuning in to this week's episode of the Big Fitness Show. We're looking forward to 2024. I hope you are as well. I hope you've taken some time to set some goals and get a plan in place. Shoot us an email. Let us know what you think of the goals and what your goals are going to be. thebigfitnessshow@gmail.com. Always love to communicate and talk about setting goals. If you have questions on my goal setting process or Stevie's goal setting process, we'd be more than happy to help out if you shoot us an email. And for myself, for Big Stevie Cool, getting bigger and bigger and bigger all the time in 2024. And he's on the lookout. Got his glasses on. Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode. If you got some value, share it with somebody who might get some value too. And we will see you in the next episode. Thanks, everybody.
Dollar Tree glasses. Better $1.25, by the way. It's a big, false advertising.